opportunities you have. If you build a new building, you can also choose for the commercial ground floor they wanted to make, to maybe use 2 stories at once. So we put out this image and they were like really excited, so we started designing the new building. And there, what I told you before, the difference between a housing within an apartment, a group, like a group of rooms you rent out, and an individual house. This shows more or less what you need on this side for an individual house in Dutch regulation. You have the blue square over here, and it's 11 square meters, and it's in this picture it's a little bigger than 3 meters wide, but according to the regulations you need to be at least 3 meters wide to put in 11 square meters. You need your own bathroom and you need your own kitchen, and the kitchen needs to be a certain length, like this needs to be 1.5 meters, and you have to put a fridge next to it. And this part cannot overlap the blue square. I'm really sure that's like everything a Dutch house needs to have to be an individual house. So that's what we went with. We even had just a tiny bit of extra space in the room to put it all in. And in the end it changed a little bit, it even got a little bigger, but it showed how on a small scale, literally on millimeters, we were already optimizing this one room. Again, from the transformation it was the same. First one room, and then from there you start building up your mass and the skin. So that's what I show here on the side. We made the studies. The dark brown is again the collective group spaces, and the light brown is the rooms. And we tried out all different variations on how to collect them together. And although you want to focus on the shape of the building, on the skin of the building, I actually was most of the time only busy with does it fit the existing building. I'm going to show you that later on why. The blue line is the maximum allowed volume the urban plan had. And on the other hand, you had just simple fire escapes. You cannot cross another room in the Netherlands, so we had this put in this wall to run around it. So I'm gonna make you happy. This wasn't the plan we made, because it was nobody wants a wall here in between the corridor. But first, I'm gonna tell you about why we had to focus on this red line. This gray area is the final design, but the red line is very important, and it has to do with the foundation of the existing tower. The existing tower is founded in the Netherlands. The foundation, a lot of times with the big concrete poles going into the ground to get a strong ground layer. And most of the time you try to reach the sand so it sticks, because the other part is all clay. But this building was built just on the concrete floor, so it was like floating in the clay. But it was there already for like 40 years. So the constructional engineer said, if it's there for 40 years, the building is going to be almost the same weight. We can do the same principle. So as long as you stay most of it within the red square, we can just build on the same foundation. And the important part with that was the ground level, the groundwater level, is exactly in the line of that concrete floor. So as soon as we demolished the floor, then we had to have half a year of pumping out water, and if you pump out the water out of clay ground, buildings around it gonna move and gonna maybe have cracks in it and everything. So they really wanted to use the existing foundation. And there you see again that we do need to put in a new concrete floor on top, and from there we can build the building. And the new concrete floor is especially to distribute the new construction on top of the existing one. and we were allowed to put in that extra little line, and that part is going to get some concrete poles underneath. So this is the final result we made. This is in Dutch, but because the time I couldn't translate it. This is the main staircase with the elevators. This is the fire escape. Here's the collective room we were talking about earlier on to make a compartment. And then this time you have 10 rooms, but all according to regulation, individual houses. And our client wants to make the individual houses, but still in keeping the collective kitchen in there, because they want people to come together. If 10 people are on one side of the compartment, they want them to share some time in the day to be together and get to know each other, because they're feeling it's something people don't do that often anymore with all the digital work and computers, everybody working on their own little space. Another thing we did is the construction is going to be the solid lines, and the stripe lines is going to be a light scale wall. And why we do that is that it's going to be flexible in the future. So those walls could be extracted in the future to make a bigger two-room space, and then you have a different group of people, like the starters houses, to use it for. And this is like more or less how the floor plan looks now. We got in to put in French balconies, as we call it in Dutch. It's like you have a door to open, you have a little railing on the outside, so you have the feeling you're outside, but it's more. It is still within your own room, and it's a little more than that window framing you saw before. And then again, you because of the rooms we make, because of the layout we make, you end up with a certain volume, and then comes the part again you have to design a skin for the building again. Now, we tried it, but it wasn't that easy. Also, this wasn't the end result, but in this building you see how massive the block had became. It became this really big building, and we were really struggling to put a good facade on it. The things we could do is, again, making a bigger entrance. The client was allowing us to do that, but yeah, we were struggling with the skin and how to make it less massive if you stand in front of it. Well, we ended up with this, like making a sort of one building but two facades. Again, the repetition, if you use one material, they're really gonna, the client's really gonna find it beneficial, because big quantities is cheaper to make. And what we did is we changed only the glue in between bricks in color. So it's the same brick, but by changing the in between the glue, it's in color you get a different appearance from the faces, and with that you get different lines, because this one's really vertical and this one is at least not vertical. We try to tell them it's horizontal. It doesn't work, but it does show a difference, and I think with that the building became a nicer building and less massive building. And this is like the final picture we just made. It's already with the contractor, we're already working it out. So I think it's, yeah, I'm happy with the end result, let's put it like that. And the good part is going into the detailing. How big is this one compared to the one above? This little fence, what we were able to do is, it's aluminium strips, but like putting them in a little angle. And as you saw in the big picture, we're changing this one from side to side, And then you see over here it's almost transparent because the strips are on an angle, and from the other one it's almost closed because you look against the strips. With those little details, you try to put in like a special thing that you're gonna notice it when you're in front of the building. On the picture it doesn't always show, but I think that's gonna make the building more exciting instead of just the repetition that's in there. So this is the part I'm always having fun doing and thinking of. But on the other hand, you have the part that's you have to engineer the whole building. And with engineering, they tell me, yeah, this is the heating installation for the building, but yeah, we don't have enough space. And here's the installation shaft, and it needs to be bigger. And trying during the whole process to keep your design alive and as it was interpreted in the first place. That's a struggle. I almost finished now. This is like the part we're at. I hope they start building it the 1st of May. But I think it still looks pretty the same, so I would say thank you. That's the presentation. Any questions?
Well, then I'll just thank everyone for coming and the people as well. So our next talk is on the 21st of February, and it's Abby Garcia, who's one from Babylon Liver, and that's on 1 o'clock on the